I texted you a while back, like, hey, I want to do a video about how Islam is more liberal than Catholicism.
Mm.
What was your like? What's your initial reaction to that claim?
I would say it is, especially when it comes to uh, abortion. Well, that's the first thing that
Mm,
comes to my mind is abortion.
yeah,
Is so in Islam, abortion is not always wrong.
right.
So there is the belief that the soul doesn't enter the body until 40 days, I believe.
Yeah,
There's some wiggle room in schools of thought, as there is 40 days or 4 months, something like that. But in theory, under Islamic Sharia, you can get an abortion in the maybe even second trimester.
wow.
Yeah. So Muslims in general aren't always anti-abortion,
Okay,
and that's something that most people don't know about Islam, because most people
yeah.
just assume Islam is pro-life, but it isn't always, especially when it comes to early term pregnancies.
Are there any like Islamic quote unquote pro life organizations that are pushing for at least 40 days ban on abortion?
Interestingly, no. I don't
Hmm.
know many. The abortion is never really talked about at a mosque. It's not really a subject that comes up. However, I do believe that
Hmm.
under Sharia law, when the Muslims try to take over a certain country, they would enforce that law. But
Okay.
it's not something that's like argued like, oh, we should ban abortion in the United States or Canada or anything like that, because they have bigger fish to fry. Like they want to take over
Mm,
Canada first. They want to take over the US first before they even try to ban abortion. So yeah.
I see. Yeah, because it's kind of weird that I've heard Muslims say before that we share a lot of the same moralities.
Mhm.
We all agree that you shouldn't be promiscuous. We all agree that women should be modest, and whatever. Like, oh, we kind of agree on some basic things, but the pro life one is one where I've never heard of, and maybe it's just my ignorance, but I've never heard of a Muslim organization that's fighting for life in the womb or anything like that.
I've never heard of it either. Like I think it's very
Yeah.
non-existent in Islam. So
So
yeah.
if a Muslim woman gets pregnant
Hmm.
and uh, let's say she's like, I don't really want this baby, and goes and gets an abortion, would that be like a scandalous thing in an Islamic family?
Not in the first trimester. No.
Does that happen though? I've never heard of a Muslim getting an abortion. I don't know.
It's like frowned upon, but it's not to the same extent. It's not like I don't think anyone would call her a murderer or anything like that, like from
Okay.
Christians. But it'd be like, oh, you shouldn't have done that. We would have figured it out.
Yeah.
Maybe it wasn't the best thing to do, but they would be like, if as long as it was like before the heartbeat.
So Islam is definitely more liberal.
In that sense, it 100% is more
on
liberal.
the question of abortion. Definitely, Islam is more liberal than
Yes.
Catholicism. I made a video recently about divorce and how Catholicism is the only major religion. Sure, you could find some like small denomination of Protestantism or whatever that doesn't allow divorce and
Mhm.
remarriage, but my understanding is that Islam does allow for divorce and remarriage.
In order to get divorced in Islam, you simply have to say talaq 3 times. So, which is just the word divorce in Arabic.
Hmm.
So, if I wanted to divorce my wife, I would just say talaq, talaq, talaq,
Hmm.
and it's actually people use it as like a scare tactic. So
Yeah.
they'll say it twice in a row just to scare their wife. It's like, see, if I said it the third time, like I mean, like it's almost
Yeah.
like emotional abuse a little bit. But like if you say, I think it's like 3 times in one day, then you're legally divorced in Islam.
Would Muslims who are watching this think you just divorced your wife right now?
Yeah, if I said it 3 times.
You just said it 3 times.
Oh well, then I'm not Muslim though, so
No, I know, but like
if,
according to them, are you divorced now, or is it only if you're a practicing Muslim, or how does that work?
if you're a practicing Muslim.
Okay.
Yeah. So if I was a Muslim right now, you're interviewing me, it's like I want to divorce my wife. I just look over at my wife and say, I divorce you, I divorce you, I divorce you.
'Cause I've heard it said that divorce is allowed in Islam, but only as a last resort, and you have to really try to make it work.
In
Okay.
theory, yes, but
Yeah.
in practice, that doesn't mean it actually goes down that way. And there's no
Okay.
limit to amount of divorces you can have or amount of marriages you can have.
Okay.
So you can have up to 4 wives at the same time, but you can have up to 50 wives in your entire life at the different times. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So, and all those like, so you can have like many wives in your life, technically,
You can have up to 50 wives in your lifetime.
yeah, if you wanted to. There's no end to divorce. You can divorce, remarry.
So to contrast that with like the Catholic view of
Mm,
marriage in the first place is it's something that has to be recognized by the church.
yes,
And once you are in a valid sacramental marriage, that's it for life.
yes.
And even if you get, divorced on paper, according to the government, you're no longer married. according to the church and according to God, you are still married. And
Mm-hmm.
so if you are to get separated, even if it is legally, you cannot remarry or engage in a new romantic relationship. Otherwise, you would be living in perpetual adultery. Looking at these two different ways of approaching marriage and divorce and remarriage, why is the Catholic one better, and why is the Catholic one more conservative than the Muslim one? Because I could imagine a Muslim guy saying like, well, you can have multiple women, and because there's this idea that like the more women you sleep with, the more masculine that is, or something. So if you can have 4 wives and up to 50 in a lifetime, that's up to 50 women that you could sleep with in a lifetime in Islam. Why is that worse than the Catholic view?
I would say it's worse mostly because it gives you the freedom to basically have as many sexual partners as possible. It's basically just being a sexual deviant with extra steps.
Mhm.
And there's another concept called muta marriage too, which we didn't talk about. And I'm gonna explain it to you guys, and y'all can tell me what you think this is. But basically, it's a temporary marriage. So if I find a woman attractive, I can give her guardian, the wali, some money for a temporary amount of time to have marital intercourse with her for a day, 2 or 3. And when I'm done, I give it back to the guardian. And then I
That's
can do that
insane.
over and over and over. Now, a Muslim will argue that it's not prostitution because people are consenting. But who's consenting in this? The guardian and the person purchasing the marriage. So you tell me, you tell me. I don't like. I'm not gonna say anything.
Something is more conservative, more based, we might say, if it actually forces you to live to a higher standard. And
Yes.
you can't, like, giving into your whims and giving into what your flesh desires is super easy.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody can do that. But actually, to be a man, you have to master your desires and
Mm-hmm.
control them and orient them towards the highest good, which is God.
Yes.
So, a religion that allows you to give into your fleshly desires as much as you want is a liberal religion. It's a progressive religion because there's no. It's not like here's a hard standard. Now you have to struggle to live up to that. It's actually no. Actually, you could just give into the.
Mm-hmm.
You can just go the easy way and do that.
Yeah. And I would say it makes you basically not strive for holiness.
Hmm.
Like the concept of being holy is not really a thing in Islam. Like to be celibate, to be holy. Celibacy is looked down upon significantly.
Interesting.
Celibacy is not a thing because you can't be a monk in Islam.
Wow.
That's not a thing.
So we covered abortion, divorce and remarriage,
Mm-hmm.
marriage itself, the way that Islam,
Contraception.
and
We
we
didn't
can
talk
do
about that.
contraception. Yeah.
But Islam has no problem with any types of contraception. Contraception's fine.
Wow.
Like you could have uh, IUD, you can have the pill, you can do any of them is fine.
That's very liberal.
Yeah. They have teaching on contraception in Islam. The teaching is there's no teaching. That's the teaching.
There's one rule, and that rule is that
There's
there's
no
no
rules
rule.
on contraception. Yeah, but like literally, like I was like when I became a Christian, I didn't even realize that contraception was a big deal in Catholicism
Yeah.
because
Interesting.
no one even talks about it in Islam. It's not even a thing. It's like,
Hmm.
what do you do when you're married and you start having intercourse? Okay, well, you start taking the pill, and then you want to have kids, you'll go off, and then
Wow.
if you don't want to have kids at all, you get a vasectomy. Like it's just talked about normally. Like it's not really, and
Man.
it'd be encouraged too. Like your imam would tell you, like, yeah, there's no problem. Like tell her to take the pill.
Oh man, that's
Yeah.
kind of, I don't know why that's like upsetting.
It's upsetting
Because
because like we're Catholics and we understand
yeah,
and we understand the significance of it and what it does to you and what it does to the woman's body.
right.
But it took me a long time to realize why it was so bad because it was so normalized
Mhm.
in a Muslim society. And
Wow.
yeah, even like Al Azhar, which is like the base for like Sunni Islam in Egypt, taught that like there was too many children in Egypt, so they started promoting on ads and stuff saying 2 is enough, and basically saying take contraception. We don't need more
Whoa,
people. So yeah,
that's
so yeah,
insane. That was in Egypt, you said?
yeah, that was in Egypt. I think it's still going on actually.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's like a Muslim would be confused, like why you're shocked. Like what? What are you doing? Why are you like wow? Like yeah, who doesn't take contraception?
That's crazy, man.
Yeah.
I mean, again, it's the same thing. Like, how can we avoid the consequences that are naturally implied with things like sex? How do we avoid actually having to deal with the difficult consequences of something we enjoy doing, so that we can just do the thing we enjoy over and over again without any like self control?
Hmm.
Well, contraception allows that. Okay, so yeah, just take the pill. Just like confuse your body and mess up your hormones so that your body thinks you're pregnant
Yeah,
when you're not.
exactly.
Or get a vasectomy. Just mutilate your testes so that you don't have to have a baby, but you can still have sex.
Is there a problem, Adrian?
Uh,
I'm joking.
condoms. I'm guessing Muslims would be okay with condoms.
Yeah, why not? Like, what's the problem with condoms from a Muslim perspective? Like, you know what I mean? It's just like,
Yeah, that's crazy to me. That's crazy.
yeah.
These topics are actually a large part of what brought me to Catholicism, because hearing Lila Rose talk about like just natural theology of the body type stuff, about
Hmm.
what sex is for, what the baby in the womb is, like just very basic philosophy, very basic science. It's like, yeah, actually, sex is
It's
for,
haram to use philosophy.
well, okay, well, yeah, that's a whole other issue.
Yeah.
The fact that the Catholic Church had this all very well sorted out was what part of what drew me to it. And then like prohibitions on pornography. How do Muslims feel about pornography? I feel like they're against pornography, right?
It's makruh, but it's not haram. It's makruh means like it's frowned upon, but it's not a sin. Because you're not. It's like Judaism. Remember what
Dennis Prager,
Dennis
yeah.
Prager said?
Oh
You
man,
cannot commit adultery. There's only one organ you can commit adultery with, and it's not your heart. That's what Islam teaches too. You can't commit adultery with your eyes or your heart in Islam.
this makes me sad.
Just one thing. So pornography is makruh, which makruh just means like it's looked down upon. It's like that's not a good thing. You should stop doing that. But it's not a sin. It doesn't separate you from God or anything.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, pork though. And that's haram, bro. Yeah, it's wild. I don't know when they were coming up with this stuff. I don't know how they like drew the line.
Yeah.
When I was learning about communism in high school, I was like, bro, if Islam didn't have Allah, it would be communism.
Yeah.
Literally, it's like the exact same thing. The caliphate owns everything.
Mm.
It's all about the ummah, the people of Islam, and expansion. There's no individualism at all. It's they take like everyone has to be Arabized and Islamized. Like they went through every single culture and destroyed it, and you give all the taxes to the state and they distribute it. It's so much like communism that it's
Interesting.
insane. It's insane, and I can see why there are people like who are Muslim socialists. I see it. Like
Whoa.
it makes so much sense to me, and like my own brother is a Muslim and a socialist. Makes
Wow.
tons of sense to me because Islam and socialism are best friends. They are best friends, man. Like the only difference is one has a god and one doesn't.
Well, then it kind of makes sense to me that there's this weird alliance between Islamic countries, or like Islam in general, and
Mm,
the left, because you just described that they're aligned on economic principles. It sounds like
yes.
they're aligned on pretty much, sexual liberalism minus like homosexuality,
Hmm.
which Muslims might just be like, well, we'll let that pass for now, so
Hmm.
that we can
Until we
like
take
take
control.
over
Yeah.
America or something. Uh, so it's kind of like we agree on like 80% of things with the left, so we're just gonna go with that
Yes.
until we can use them to take control, and then the other 20% that we disagree on, we'll just force that down on them later.
Hmm. But the one that's going to win is Islam.
Yeah.
When we are destroyed, if they win, right? I don't think the Catholic Church is going to lose, obviously, because I believe it's going to
Mhm.
like stay forever. But hypothetically, if Islam and the left came together and won, and then the only two are left are the only two that are left in the fight are Islam and like socialism.
Mhm.
Islam will win because what socialism is missing is the divine, and
Yeah.
Islam has that answer, and it
Yeah.
will give, even though it's a false answer, it's a false divine. It's enough to give the human soul just a little bit to keep going, where socialism doesn't have that.
I
Like
see.
atheism and nihilism doesn't have that, and so like you will still be dead on the inside. Or at least in Islam, they'll give you a false promise of an afterlife. They'll give you a false promise of what you're fighting for. In socialism, once you win, there's nothing more to fight for
Mhm.
because there's no afterlife. It's
Yeah.
nihilism. So yeah.
The reason I bring this up, the reason I think this is an important topic, is because a lot of Muslims think of Christianity as liberal
Mm-hmm.
because it's associated with the West, which has become a very liberal society. And when you just look at what does the Catholic Church teach and what does Islam teach about these different topics that we just talked about, Catholicism is way more conservative than Islam is,
Oh,
like by
100%.
far.
100%. Yeah. I
So,
think we're the most conservative religion
oh yeah, of course, yeah,
by a long shot. Yeah.
yeah,
Maybe not on the outside like view, like what we look like, but on the inside with our teachings, we are
mhm,
100% the most conservative.
yeah.